On behalf of British Council, it gives me great pleasure to have with us today Alia Zoghbi and Amani Hassan from Shubbak Festival for Arab Cultures and Safar Film Festival. So I'll start with welcoming you and showing how delighted we are to be supporting two of the most engaging festivals showcasing Arab art, and I will let you introduce yourselves first. So Alia.
So I'm Alia Zoghbi. I'm joint CEO of Shubbak Festival alongside Taghreed Shuair Bidosso.
Hello, Alia and Amani.
And my name is Amani Hassan. I'm currently the acting executive director of the Arab British Center.
I'll start with you, Alia. Shubbak, a window to the Arab cultures. So if you could tell us about this year's edition, what has remained constant? You're in your 7th edition.
What has remained constant is that it's still a beast of a festival in that the number of events and number of artists involved is really quite spectacular. And so in this festival, we have over 80 events taking place across London and beyond, and we're engaging over 200 artists in the process. And that's over a period of 16 days. So in that sense, it's the same festival in its abundance and in its offer. What has changed is that, first of all, we've experimented this year with having Arabic-only language as a language for events. So we have had an event where the only language spoken is Arabic, and that is the stand-up comedy show with Shad and Faqih. There are no surtitles. So in the past, Shubbak would have Arabic language events with surtitles. This is the first time we've done it without any surtitles. And this is quite a big statement for us to say that there is space for the Arabic-speaking diaspora, and there are offers for them as well, and acknowledging that we come from a multiplicity and live with a multiplicity of languages. So that's one thing that we have done differently. Another thing that we've done differently is that we have brought in a number of access entry points, and that's really important for us. So in the last edition, I want to give credit to everyone at Shubbak who introduced BSL as a standard offer across the festival, BSL being British Sign Language. What we've done this year is we've gone a step further. So yes, we are providing either British Sign Language or closed captions, but we've also ensured that a great majority of our venues are accessible. A great majority of our events are relaxed, which means that audiences who are neurodiverse or need to walk in and out of spaces or need a quiet space, we've made that provision for them. Our events for families also have access support workers. So should a parent arrive with a child who requires additional needs, we are well prepared to hold them and to ensure that they are engaging in the way that suits them on their terms. So I would say these are the major changes that we've had this festival.
Right, thank you. Thanks, Alia. Fabulous. Amani, Safar, another very full name with a lot of connotations. So if you could tell us a bit about the inspiration behind the name and this year's edition, because it's Safar and traveling through time and space.
Absolutely. So Safar Film Festival is the largest festival today of Arab cinema in the UK. That's something that we're quite proud of. I guess the original name came from the idea that we wanted to take British audiences onto a journey with us through Arab cinema. Every edition that we work on is themed. So we work with a curator who develops a theme, and the selection of films is taken based on that. So that allows Safar to always be a festival that includes not just premieres, but also recent films that haven't had an opportunity to have a UK release or that haven't ever been screened in the UK before. But we also bring back classic films, and it's a mix of all genres of film, documentaries, shorts, features, art films, and we tend to mostly work with a lot of emerging filmmakers as well. That's really important for us. The theme this year is a journey through space and time. And Rabia Al-Khouri, who curated this 8th edition, wanted to explore films that addressed either lesser known histories from the Arab world or that had very specific landscapes or geographical locations. So we're traveling through the Arab world through this lens, basically.
I'm just such a fan. Can I fangirl this woman? You know, I think it's incredible. Like the Safar Film Festival, I always say to Amani, I find the program so elegant, and I think it's just so important every time to say it again and again and big up everything that the Arab British Centre does in bringing like such a beautiful and nuanced program that feels really like a journey. There's something so dreamy about Safar, and I love it. I just love it. I'm a big fan.
Alia, Shubbak is a window on Arab cultures, and it was a window on Arab culture.
This is the first step of a much larger body of work that we want to engage in. And it is to acknowledge that the region has a multiplicity of cultures, beliefs, languages, tongues, spiritualities,
Heritage,
and
histories.
Absolutely. So many. And so for us, this was just the first step in a much deeper or much larger body of work that we want to do to kind of start to acknowledge who else resides in the region, who's missing from the table, how does language help us to understand complex ideas, but also how does language limit us from being able to engage with these ideas. So that's that S. That S is so significant.
So there has been a huge component of inclusion in the festival, especially Shubbak this year. So if you can tell us a bit about inclusion in Shubbak this year, Alia.
Absolutely, yes. So apart from all the kind of three-dimensional exploration around what does an accessible festival look like, part of that journey has been our Sync Arabi program, supported by the British Council, and in collaboration with Sync Leadership and Art to Heart Palestine. So what we have tried to do is start on a journey of understanding what are the multiple layers of access points within a festival. So we started with a 1-week residency in Jordan, where we invited Palestinian and Jordanian disabled artists and cultural practitioners, and started to explore what does leadership look like with them. And a big part of why we felt that was necessary was because we don't have enough leaders who identify as disabled. And unless we have disabled folk in leadership positions, then creating accessible schemes will never be truly authentic, if you like. It won't be based on the lived experience of individuals who are experiencing the obstacles that we need to be removing, essentially. So the Sync Arabi program has meant now that apart from that 1 week that we've had together, we held as part of Shubbak an online conversation, Art and Disability Under Siege. And that was really insightful in terms of understanding what are the barriers to access for disabled artists and cultural practitioners in the region. And also, we have a delegation coming to visit us in 2 days, actually, a delegation of disabled artists from Jordan and Palestine, as well as non-disabled cultural practitioners who are working in the field of disability arts. So they will all be together with us at Shubbak Festival, and what we're trying to do is create these links between the UK and the region when it comes to disability justice and the arts, so that we can open up a conversation that is not hierarchical in the sense of oh, we've got it figured out in one place, so let's just apply it to the other place, but rather in opening up these channels of communication so that both ends, if you like, are starting to engage in what does collaboration look like and what do fully accessible festivals look like. So we're at the beginning of that journey as well, but it's a really exciting beginning for us at Shubbak.
There is very interesting collaboration that's been going on between Shubbak and Safar, and we want to know more about the collaboration.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, it's something we definitely wanted to continue doing. So, the lovely Shubbak Festival team are one of our resident organizations in the building. So we have a lovely community of people working in the building. We have about 10 organizations currently in the building. Everybody works in the Arab world or with the Arab world in some capacity, and Shubbak is our very good friends. In 2021, after the pandemic, the former CEO approached us and asked if we would be interested in joining forces and bring our festivals together. Funding had been quite difficult on both ends. Safar had suffered quite a lot, and I think Shubbak Festival suffered quite a bit too. And because, you know, everything had changed so drastically, nobody knew which direction things were going to go and how culture was going to be received. So we decided that it was the perfect opportunity to bring both our festivals together and bring the film element to their program, which, you know, felt like a very natural and organic combination.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And it's like the spirit of collaboration is something to celebrate, because we're so much more, we amplify our programs when we join each other in this way, to the point that sometimes people confuse Shubbak and Safar, Safar in a way.
yeah.
And in a way, for us, this is a moment of pride. And that's how you know that the partnership means a lot to you, is that when someone's confusing Shubbak with Safar, we're thinking, you know, this is a proud moment. We, of course, direct them to the Arab British Centre and let them know that this is the genesis of the collaboration.
Now, Alia, your co-CEO with Taghreed Shuqair, Amani is the director for the festival Safar. So we've got a team of 3 women leading, like at the helm of the 2 very interesting Arab festivals, basically. Has that impacted the shaping of the festivals in any way? I'll start with you, Alia, on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is something that happens when women take leadership positions, which goes beyond, you know, man versus woman. I think there's something about looking at the spectrum, if you like, of fluidity between feminine and masculine. And I believe that every one of us holds some feminine and some masculine. And the tragedy is that the world has tipped towards the masculine. So the more aggressive, competitive you can be, this is me spouting some opinions here, the more you will get further in the world. And I think what's beautiful about the way Shubbak and Safar have been working together, and the spirit within which we collaborate, even outside the festivals, by the way, as residents in this building, you feel that there's a very strong feminine energy. What do I mean by feminine energy? It's an energy that is very nurturing and spacious. So it creates space. There's collaboration is at the center of it. It's not necessarily competitive. And it's more about, let's do the best that we can do while looking after ourselves. And these are conversations that we've had.
We have them all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And there's something really, for me, revolutionary when women come together and say, actually, we're going to discard this idea that we need to compete with one another and feel threatened by each other. And we're going to embrace this idea that we are stronger when we're together. And I've certainly felt that with you, Amani, and with the entire Arab British Centre.
We're an all-female team also. It's not by choice, it just happens to be that we're 100% all women on the team. And it's a very inclusive environment. The nature, because there's only 4 of us, currently 3, we work very closely together, and we, you know, everyone's opinion matters, and we listen, we take the time to, you know, to take decisions jointly. There is no hierarchy. There is on paper, but in reality, we all come to the table and we all have discussions and we all agree together. And I think that's a wonderful thing to have.
Thank you, Alia Zobi. Thank you, Amani Hassan.